Welcome to The Switch, podcasts that are wired to online and offline marketing.
We're back with some education in the branding and website space. So everyone whinges about their website.
Yep.
Most people do. I
Hear
do
it all the time.
whether it goes down, whether it's looks good enough. But a major thing that impacts your business is your website speed, because
Yes.
when you go to a website, you got about 8 seconds to impress your audience. Everyone knows that. Well, most people who know me know that,
Yes.
because I keep banging on about it. So 8 seconds isn't a long time, but if your website hangs and it doesn't load within a certain maybe 1 or 2 seconds, then it could really have an impact on the visitors that are trying to look at what you offer. So how do you people who don't know, they think web hosting is all the same. Okay, my website lives somewhere. All the servers in the world, they're all the same. Mm-hmm. And I have clients like that who go for. They say, why is your hosting so expensive? I can get it for $5 a month.
Yeah.
And honestly, in this day and age, you've got to be smarter in business than that. So when you're talking about website speed, there's a number of things you can do to the software. There's a number of things you can actually do on the hardware side as well. So picking a good server is absolutely critical. There's some really good servers that don't break the bank.
Yes.
Out there. And honestly, if you're a web developer mentions speed, then you've got to consider the server. If you insist your website being on your server that you've chosen, you need to reassess that with someone who knows what they're talking about. And if it's not delivering the speed gains and it hasn't got some sort of CDN attached to it, like it's a content delivery network attached to it, then to take your business to the next level and make sure that your audience gets what it deserves, then always consider your server, always consider a CDN. From the software side of things as well, image optimization is absolutely critical. So loading up your images straight off. A lot of people associate their images with their website, but there are services these days that allow you to actually put all your images on an optimized server, so it serves up the images even before the content on your own website. So when your visitor actually gets the hit of your website, it gets everything in one go. Yep. So just a couple of things to look out for: image optimization. Your
CDN. Explain a bit more about
that. Content delivery network is little hubs around the world.
Yes.
That have copies of your website. Okay, they have copies of your website that allow you geographically to be closer to your audience. So if someone is, if you've put your website on a CDN and they've got a server, let's say in China, mm-hmm. then someone who's visiting your website in Hong Kong will get the content delivered from China, as opposed to Australia.
Brilliant. Yeah.
So if you have a server in a CDN which has a server in Australia, then me being in Perth, if I go visit an Australian business on that, go visit that business, I'll get the Australian version of that. So it gets delivered so much quicker than if I was looking to the US.
Okay. Well, I'm educated because I didn't know that
one. Oh, you didn't know that one?
Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
Brilliant.
So,
brilliant. I really love that.
There's plenty of services that are out there. AWS have an inbuilt CDN.
Right.
You got Cloudflare again. That's the one we use. That has CDN. You do have to pay a little bit extra for CDNs.
Yeah, I have heard of Cloudflare, but I didn't know that's what it was. So
Cloudflare obfuscates your IP addresses so it doesn't get hacked.
Yep.
But it has a CDN attached to it.
Okay then. Brilliant.
And for the optimized images, they use CDNs as well. So yeah. Definitely something to look out for.
And all that makes a massive difference with the speed of your site and how quickly it loads.
Absolutely.
So awesome. Good stuff, Steve. One of the other things that I'd like to talk about from an education perspective is that we get a lot of businesses that come to us. Obviously, they need a logo. They want to develop an identity and, a style guide and everything like that. But a lot of times, it's the name that is the issue. And businesses that are a bit more savvy do the work and do the research. So they're looking into the name and how it's portrayed on a business card, what kind of recall it has. And, I think some people fall into the habit of thinking that they need the name to reflect exactly what the business does, and that's not always the case. And in fact, that's very similar to a logo too. A lot of people think that a logo has to represent their business. But with the naming, doing your research is a massive thing, and not just go with a name that your accountant has found on a shelf, through a naming website or, through the government departments and registering a business name. Oh, we couldn't get what we wanted, so we've just gone with this name. You spend a bit of time, and we've done this. We offer this as a service for our clients. Spend a bit of time, do the research, and look at your options, and literally brainstorm and play with it, and be a bit creative. And you can get something that's got better longevity in the marketplace. It's got way better recall from a branding perspective.
Yep.
And you know what? Little things like your web address and email addresses, they don't run off the side of the page and then continue on the back of the card.
That's right.
People don't always think about that, but that's one of those things that really irks me.
Jeez.
Let's keep our address as short as possible.
Yeah.
And so let's spend a bit more time and develop that, and let's look at it and spend a bit of time around that creatively and see what we can do that's still going to work for you as a business, but it's going to be really good for you moving forward. So spend a bit of time on your business name. Don't just take what's offered to you, and you'll be surprised what you get, because sometimes when you do the research, you go, what? I can't believe no one's taken this name.
Yeah, that's right.
Or someone's either just let it go, and you can just pick up some awesome names that are not registered that you never would have thought would be free to use. So, you won't know if you don't try. So give it a go.
Give it a go.
Spend some time on your name. Don't just accept the status quo, and you'll be surprised.
And are you talking new business or established businesses?
Both. I mean, if it's a rebrand, sometimes a rebrand does come with a name change. So it can be established business, and for one reason or the other, they're having to change their name. It could be that there's a partner or something that's got their name in the logo, and they need to get it out.
Yeah.
And it's a brand new business. They might not have the budget. A lot of times, it's not about the budget. It's just they just don't think that's available to them, or no one said to them, "Hey, you know what? You should do your due diligence, and let's just look at the name a bit more carefully before you accept." The standard basic name. And the other thing is, a really basic thing sometimes can work well for you, but other times they can work badly for you, because if there's a lot of businesses using the same generic name, that will affect things like search engine and finding a company.
Yeah.
And if they're spending the big bucks, it's very hard for you to compete on that space, on the online space. So it's a bit more of a smarter way to look at it. It takes a little bit longer. It costs a little bit more money, not a lot. And you will then get something that you're really happy with. And the fact that you've just done the research, instead of going, I wonder if I could have got a better name. I wonder if I'm not really happy with it, but well.
A lot of you sort of get a gut feel though, don't you?
Do,
when you hit on the right name,
you do.
You think,
that's got some legs. Absolutely, you do. And when you've been in our space for so long, you do. You straight away you go, ooh, that sounds cool. I really like that. That's got something,
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
Have you always been Notions Design?
I have, from day one.
Always. Lucky you. I think in the last episode
you talked about your name.
Yes. Let's not go there.
but I'm glad you cleared that up, because as I said, I had wondered, and there are people out there that wonder. That will actually say to you, why that name? Why have you used that name? I'm just interested, But that is a good thing too.
Yeah,
the fact that someone shows interest.
And people
in your name,
remember it.
They
surprisingly
do.
enough.
Absolutely, yeah. Good job, mate.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Nice one. A couple of frequently asked questions. we're always talking about businesses and efficiencies, and it'll be good to actually just divulge a couple of tips from our side as to what we actually use to run our businesses. They could be creative things that we use in our businesses. It could be systems that we use that make things so much easier.
Absolutely.
What would you like to put forward?
I work with you on a number of projects, and we typically use a Trello board for that. I really like that for managing the process and being able to clearly communicate on one screen where everything is at one time in the process of a job. So I love Trello. I have been using it. I had been using it on and off probably since its inception, but I do find that I'm using it more now. And I know there's a whole handful of other products that do similar things, but I think the Trello is a great way to go to be able to control and communicate with your client, add and changes real time, and the uploading of information so it doesn't get lost in emails and doing it that way. So I'm glad that I'm now using it even more, and that's most of that's due to working with the Burning Fruit team. You guys use it really well, and it's very easy to follow, and it's great collaborating with you guys and clients at the same time in that space. So yeah, it's a big thumbs up for Trello for me.
Awesome. We already touched on Slack and how it can transform a business, so that is one thing that we definitely use. But from a website design perspective, there's a couple of tools that we use. Experience Design from Adobe. That was pretty amazing when it first came out, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Completely transformed the way a lot of businesses design websites. You could build prototypes. You could easily put together designs and show clients without actually having to develop anything. I mean, we could do that in Photoshop, but Photoshop is really, really cumbersome in comparison. Adobe came up with that product. And since then, there's been a product called Figma that is very similar to XD, but the big difference is it's free. I mean, there are things that you pay for, little upgrades that you can pay for, but you can get access to Figma for free, and the power of XD is embedded in it.
Okay.
It's not by Adobe. It's done by an independent company. I don't quite know who actually is the parent company who owns Figma, but the power behind Figma. There are a few things that aren't quite XD, but again, there's a few things in Figma that are not in XD as well. So it's a bit of give and take, but Figma is free to use, worthwhile giving it a try.
Does that mean that you guys have adopted that over XD, or you're using them both?
We're using them both at the moment. We've got a lot of legacy designs and a lot of marketing campaigns in XD, but we can easily export them to Figma as well. Not easily. It doesn't come up with the same file type, but the thing about Figma is that it's collaborative. So my team could be working on a design, and I'd pop in there, I'd log in, look at the design, and they can actually see my mouse move around the screen, and I can actually change things.
And then that's cool.
And you can't do that with XD.
That's cool.
That is very, very cool. So it's all real time online. So it's just, you just log into the website, and it's a pretty amazing tool.
I might have to check that one out.
Yep, definitely worth checking out.
Good stuff, Steve.
Nice one.